Sensei Beats.
What's up, guys? This is episode 5 of Just Some Weebs. I'm here with Nitro's Corner, also known as Connor, and I'm here with Veg Senpai, also known as Eric. You know, it's your boy NoTaku Noel. My name is in my channel name, so let's get this started. We're going to be discussing, what do you guys want to start with?
I think we should start with the Gretzko.
Gretzko? Okay.
The newest release.
It's the freshest in
the freshest one
Connor's mind.
I literally just finished it. I restarted the first season just so I can have it in the background.
Why don't you discuss your opinion of the entire show, Connor?
I thought it was really good. I mean, my favorite part was probably in the second season with what is that? Anai?
Yeah,
I don't know. That part really hit home for me because I feel like it had a sense of realism. Like I feel like in today's like Sue happy culture, where like he's just recording every single conversation they have and like just keeping everything by the books and trying to like not get caught with anything. It kind of added like a sense of thrill to it for me.
You know, I feel like he wasn't even trying to not get caught. Like he just didn't care.
Yeah, he's just crazy.
Like he was just going to rooms, and it was like he was so crazy, and
yeah, I love the way his eyes roll up in his head too. He's just like,
you know, I love a nice character, man. He's definitely one of my favorite in the show. And,
right.
She had a lot to the season.
He did. He did, and then he ended up fanboying over Retzko, which I would never have expected from a nine. So, you know, it was definitely, you know, unlike you, my favorite season was the third season. Like it was just so different, you know.
Oh yeah, it was so different, especially from the first season.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Haida,
like a completely new show.
They really showed him love this season, which I'm definitely appreciative of, man. Like, he was simping, and then he was at the end. He had an option between two people. He didn't really have the option, but you know, which his choice didn't really make sense to me because he had an option which would have benefited him in the end, but he went with the simp choice. But so yeah, it was. Hey.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the third season was fantastic. I mean, honestly, like the way it goes, even in the second season and the third season, it kind of like I honestly forgot about the entirety of the first season. It's just so different.
Oh yeah,
it like, really. I watched them back to back, and it's like a whole new show.
Every season was completely different in a way.
Yeah. Right.
I didn't
Who's
really
your guys'
like
favorite character.
Mine is definitely Haida.
Yeah, I'd say Haida is my favorite character. I wanted to kind of get into the third season's creating a huge talking point because of the ending and his choice and what was kind of right or wrong in that situation. And I'm actually doing a whole video on that because it's just a huge point of talking for everyone right now. But like my opinion, his choice, I can't entirely blame him for choosing that because he was put in a pretty fucked up situation. And when that's happening, emotions are happening because he was pretty much ready to move on. She comes back into his life. Some people are kind of encouraging him to go for her. Other people like Fenico aren't. And then after that, he gets the murder thing happens. He saves her life and then has to choose, okay, which girl do you want more? And then has this shit plopped on him at the same time. And it's between, do I go with my heart or go with the more logical option? Yeah, the logical option. And then after that, after he chooses that and he's feeling all these emotions, he gets put with, okay, yeah, the smartest person in this freaking world has an app that says you're like meant to be together and all this is shit's happening. And why I kind of understand why he chose that is because if all this fucked up shit was happening, I'd kind of be like, okay, maybe the universe does want me to be with her. Maybe there's something crazy fucking happening. Like, I don't know what the fuck to do. And that's why I kind of like sympathize with what he was saying, what he was doing, because in that moment, I'd be like, I don't even know what the hell's going on, like what I'm supposed to do. Like I'd be put in a really bad situation with that. And after he got that app and he chose to go ahead and do that with Retsuko, that whole thing with him doing the last punk metal battle, that is a very morally gray thing, because at the same time, it wasn't the best thing to do, but it did do something good. But it was kind of a irrational, spur of the moment choice doing that. And of course, it was on a cliffhanger, so you don't know if it worked out in his favor or it didn't.
That's why I was kind of confused, like if she is into him at the end or if she still isn't.
Yeah, and that's what's going to probably determine whether how much I like the season finale or not, as we get answers to doing that. But like, a lot of people don't like what he did, and they think he's like evil and shit for doing that. Like, they legitimate, like, I know it's everywhere online. They actually think he's like a terrible person. He's like, he didn't choose the girl they wanted him to choose, or because he went to do the Retsuko after she just had all this shit happen to him. And I'm kind of just like, put yourself in his shoes. Like, put yourself in that situation. Like, while what happened to him wasn't as traumatic as what happened to Retsuko, it's still some traumatic shit that he went through too. Like, it's still there. Like, that's still some crazy shit to happen.
Right.
And then just have everyone at the end of the moment be like, you're his soulmate, you're meant to save her and shit. And then just like Tadano, smartest dude ever, everyone else doing all that, like, his action made complete sense to me. Like, if I was put in that situation, would I do something better? Would I do something worse? Like, I don't know. What would everyone else think? Like, it's just a crazy, like, there's just so much you can think about the season finale and like which way and which direction it is. And like, entirely, I wouldn't even say so much this season he was really a simp, because everything Haida did, there was a reason. Like, there was a reason behind it. It wasn't like in the other seasons where he was just kind of a dumbass and just thinking with his emotions and not doing doing the wrong thing. But this season, it's like, did he do the wrong thing? Like, could he have done it better? Could he have done something worse? Like, it's very, you can't really know. And I can't really give him shit for it at the end of the day. Like, I wouldn't even say he really simped, because if I was in that situation, like, living in that universe, I don't know what the fuck I would have done, to be honest.
Who would you want him to choose, in your opinion?
Personally, I think him not choosing Inui was a really selfless decision, because she doesn't deserve to be put in the middle of all that shit.
That's true. That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, like, he does. I think what he did was very selfless. Like, he didn't want to put her in the middle of all that shit. And like, he's in this state where he's like, fuck, I don't know if like the universe wants me to be with Retsuko. At the same time, it's given me so much disappointment in the past. Like, what do I choose?
Right.
And
I definitely agree with you.
And that's where he was put in there. And in that situation, because people were like, oh, that's kind of the more simp question. A lot of people are comparing his relationship with Retsuko. You guys ever watch Regular Show?
Yeah.
I've seen parts of it. I haven't seen all. Like,
okay. A lot of people are comparing Haida to Mordecai.
Yeah.
His relationship with Margaret.
Definitely.
And there's a lot of similarities there. But like, what made this season take it in a different direction is he was put in like I said, a really fucky situation, to where it's like, was it stupid? Like, what the fuck would I do in this situation? Yeah. Like, and even after he found this out and after everything happened with Retsuko and he found out they were soulmates, he wasn't happy about it. He was kind of just like, fuck, dude, I have to do something about this. Like, I need to do this. I need to be there for Retsuko, or be this person for Retsuko. And I think while all this was happening, he was just confused as hell and didn't know what to do, and kind of just went off on a limb, which I probably would have done that too, because it's also spur of the moment. And on top of that, all his friends are encouraging him to do it too. Like, they're right there with him, choosing to pick Retsuko from his house and do all that. And if you're going to not like Haida for that, you should hate her friends even more, because they encouraged it. They went along with it. Like, they influenced it and I wouldn't say made him go through with it, but they heavily encouraged it and influenced it. So I don't know. If you're gonna hate on him, you should hate everyone else. You should hate Tadano. You should hate Gory too, like, because they definitely played a huge part in it.
I mean, I kind of wanted him to be with her throughout the whole series. I don't know why. That was like, I felt like it was gonna happen, and I felt like the show was making me want it to happen.
It does kind of, but at the same time, it's like he has to earn it. And this season, it was so weird, because like, he was with another girl, which he was kind of earning it, and then all of a sudden she comes back into his life out of nowhere, and then this freaking almost murder happens and puts him in such a fuck situation, to where it's like, okay, well, maybe I should choose her. Like, what the hell is the universe trying to tell me?
Right.
And
he followed his heart.
Yeah, and I mean, followed his heart, and I don't know, would I follow my heart in that situation? Would I follow what everyone else wants me to do? Would I do something in between? Like, what the fuck would I do if I just got stabbed and saved the girl that I was in love with for years? Like,
right.
What was the I forgot his name. I think he's like a horse. I don't know, he can't be a horse.
oh, it's based on the horse guy. Like, he was based off that stalker dude from A Perfect Blue, which I actually watched last night. It's the movie A Perfect Blue has a lot of similarities with the Gretzko season 3. There's a lot of influence in it with the OTM girls and the
right.
Yes.
Where'd you watch it?
I watched it at my friend Johnny's house. We just rented it.
Oh, you're okay.
We just watched it on I think we just went on YouTube and it was free there.
Okay.
Right.
What was Retzko's ex's name?
Tadano or
Tadano. Yeah, it's Tadano.
Tadano, yeah. That guy, that's one of my favorite characters. He's probably my second favorite character.
See, if Haida if he took the same approach as
it's Tadano. That was I actually made a whole video about that, how Haida should have took the same approach as Tadano, and how in the second season Tadano was like the ultimate foil to Haida. I actually made like a whole video about that, and I think that was the main thing to take apart from that Haida was supposed to learn. And then more in this season, he was doing the right thing for a while, but it wasn't with Retzko, and then everything kind of flipped its way. And I wouldn't say in this season he behaved like how he did in the other seasons. Like, he made a lot of character development, very good character development. I don't feel like it was rushed. They paced it very well with him to learn, but then they just they just put him to the ultimate test at the end of the season.
Yeah, I feel like the season was really his season to shine.
He really did make the show. I mean, the OTM girl thing was entertaining, but like the interactions with Haida, I thought the scene with him and Anai was the funniest shit, where he gets really drunk and he thinks that Anai has a fake girlfriend.
Yeah, he's like, oh, the graphics are great in this one.
He's like drunk off his ass. Like, I thought them hanging out together was just priceless. Like, I'd love to see them hang out more.
Right.
What did you guys think of the beginning of the season when Retzko was like being obsessed with the game character? Like, I felt like at that point I didn't know how the season was gonna go.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Right. I feel like they kind of went away from it so quickly.
Yeah, and then it was funny when her coworker, what's the coworker's name? And is it Anai?
No, Anai's the
Fenico. Fenico's the little
Fenico,
yeah, Fenico.
Yeah.
It was so funny. It was so funny when Fenico picked up she bought the PlayStation.
Yeah, bought it.
And then put on the VR. It was like,
That, out of all the characters this season, she's the only one that kind of disappointed me a little bit. Really? Just because, it's because I think she's what they do is great with her in this season, but it kind of exposed her a little more for being kind of a hypocrite, and she likes to tell Retzko and Haida all this like harsh shit and tell them what to do, but she's worse than both of them. Like, she bought the virtual boyfriend too. She's like, where's her boyfriend? She's never dated anyone or had any luck with dating either. And she was giving Retzko all this shit, but she's just as in an even worse boat than her. And she's so fucked up. Like, I wouldn't say fucked up. The Haida is some of it he needs to hear, but at the same time, it's like, you're no better. You're even worse when it comes to dating than Haida.
Dude, I kind of had like this weird thought that like, is it Fenico, yeah. Fenico. I kind of feel like she likes Gretzko, like deep down.
Really? Retzko. Everyone thinks that she secretly has a crush on Haida too. That's another theory.
No. Maybe, yeah, she's in love with their relationship.
She's in love with being obsessed with other people's lives and trying to help other people's lives, but she doesn't focus on her own life. Yeah. Which is why she's actually worse, or she's worse off than those two when it comes to relationships and other things, because she's focusing so much on Haida and Retzko's lives and giving them criticism that she's not like taking any of that criticism for herself. Mm-hmm. And I like that a lot, but like it did make me kind of lose a little respect for her this season. She's usually one of my favorite characters, but this season I'm like, okay, you're kind of a hypocrite.
Right.
You can't be this like mean to Haida, but like at the same time be even worse than him or be even worse than Retzko.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just what her character like.
Yeah, it's very relatable.
That's where she excels. Yeah.
Very relatable.
I feel like she's been a hypocrite from the beginning of this. Like, I feel like her character never switched up. Like,
yeah, she's always been kind of a hip. It was just exposed more in this season. but I'd say she's still very relatable to a lot of people I know. And to be honest, I think season 3 was the most relatable season out of all. Like, I could just relate to this shit so much. And I'd say I really could relate to Haida because I've been put in a situation where there's 2 girls that I like, and then there's one that one side of the group likes and the other side likes this side more. And no matter what I choose, I'm gonna look like a bad guy at the end of the day, or I'm gonna let someone down. And I don't know to choose the girl that's a little more logical or the girl that I just like more for some reason, or I just feel more for. And it's a hard situation. Well, I've never been like put in a murder situation or anything like that while it was happening. And that's why I'd say like Haida had it a little bit worse, but I've been in that situation before where it's like, okay, there's 2 people I really like who do I choose? And like, I did do one thing and I got a bunch of backlash for choosing the person that they didn't want me to be with. And I didn't lead the other girl on. I didn't like kiss her.
Like that's the key, you know?
Yeah. Like I didn't lead her on, and Haida didn't lead on anyway. He never kissed her. He never took things that far with her. He kind of held like, he put it on a standstill until the end what he wanted, but he didn't like drag her along with super hard.
Right.
And I mean, some people were like saying that about, not that he let her on, but he did it like this to Inu. And I'm like, he really wasn't that fucked up to her. I mean, in all honesty, I don't think he did anything wrong to her.
I feel like he did do something wrong to her. Like when he invited her to his house, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and she had to find out herself that another female was already over, and
he was trying to hide that he was hanging out with Retzko.
Right.
That is probably the only thing that was a little bit like, I mean, at the same time, like he's not dating anyone. He can do what he wants, but at the same time, like that was a point where it's just like, okay, now you have to choose, man. Like you can't, like, because clearly she's not cool with you hanging out with Retzko or doing that too. That's going to get in the way. So you have to choose now. And then that put him more in that state. And he was going more towards Inu after that state. And then when the stabbing and all that kind of incident happened, it's just like, fuck, like, I guess it has to be her and stuff. And Inu was kind of just like, yeah, I know what you're going to choose. Like you love this girl. Like that's the kind of emotional thing that needs to happen for you to realize that you still have feelings for her and that maybe you're going to give it another shot and that this is the time and everything else. I don't know. All these events are leading to that.
I don't think it was a matter of her not wanting him to hang out with him, or hang out with her, or hang out with him. But I think it was a matter that he just was being oblivious of the fact that he was still in love with her, but he was acting as if he was.
It wasn't, because he knows he knows that it's like it's probably not going to end up in failure. And yeah, he still had feelings for her, but like he probably was thinking at the time, it's not going to work. It never worked before. Everyone else wants me to be with anyway, because it's way more likely to turn out in my favor and probably make me happy and do all this instead of being rejected again. So I think that's what was holding him back.
Right.
Which makes a lot of sense, but
right. I kind of felt like he was treating her like Gretzko treated him, like in a sense where like he always wanted to be with her and all this stuff. And like, she was always forced to do stuff at work and whatnot. And then like all of his other friends were like kind of being like, Gretzko's not the safe option. So he kind of felt forced into that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But also, what did you guys think about the end where like, the whole season was kind of like, him making this choice, going with his heart or going with the safe, logical choice. But then they dropped the ball where like they might have not even potentially been a perfect match. He could have done it himself with the app. I don't know. What do you guys take of that?
The ending, if Tadano rigged the ending, I would actually lose a little respect for him, because that's right. And then showing it to him right after the murder incident, that's just asking for him to do something irrational or just cause something not that positive. And I would lose respect for Tadano if he rigged that, because that I don't know why he would do that. But
right.
Well, I feel like he definitely rigged the app, but I feel like you're right in terms of she just got she almost got stabbed, and instead of comforting her, he was forcing his feelings onto her and
seize the opportunity.
After that incident. And this is how it went for them, because at first it was because one of the ways to actually communicate, because Retzko's very closed off, like when he did communicate his feelings, he kind of did expose Retzko for what she's been doing throughout the season with hiding her feelings and like how she really is towards everyone else, and how it's been like leading her to disaster, and she was going to dig herself back into another hole and repeat the same cycle again. Like Haida did call that out when he first met her, because like getting her to really express her feelings, the death metal karaoke is what brings it out in her. And that's how they both have their things. And then she equally said things that Haida needed to improve, or that Haida's doing wrong, like tons of things too. And they both kind of called each other out. And then after that, Haida went to her, and then everything went a lot more soft. And then I mean, it didn't show, but I assume that like maybe he made it more about their feelings and did that. I feel like he just started off. One thing he did do is how he was showing that phone app and that stuff. I think like in his mind, he's convinced that like he's her soulmate and stuff, and that like this app, the murder, everything, or almost murder and everything else that happened is basically the universe and everyone telling him to be with her. And he kind of thought of himself after all that was presented to him as in like, I'm like kind of not her savior, but like I'm meant to be with her, and I'm going to be what's going to make everything better, and I'm going to do everything to make you better. And I feel like he kind of got that mentality, which isn't entirely right. He shouldn't have went about it that way, but like with everything being pushed on him at the last moment and all this, and Haida just being Haida and making kind of irrational choices while improving, he's still Haida. I think that's what kind of went more into that. And I don't know, after that, the call out battle, maybe he made it more about like feelings and more sensible, but cliffhanger, you don't really know. But I assume that he did, and the tone of the conversation changed after the battle.
Right.
But he did kind of come in with a little bit of this savior mentality, which made sense after what happened and what was shown, but probably wasn't the best thing that he could have done. Like he could have easily went through it in a way better. That's why a lot of people are mad this season, because they're like, oh, Haida could have did it in a way better way, or could have went through this in a different fashion instead of choosing what he chose to do. And I completely agree with it, but I don't think what he did was entirely wrong, or there wasn't anything good that came out of it, because it was kind of an irrational, spur of the moment decision. But this time there was actually a reason for it, unlike all the other times where Haida just does stupid shit to do stupid shit and he's not thinking. This time there was actual reason behind it, and a lot of influences and things going through his head to make him decide this. So it wasn't just a completely thoughtless decision.
Right.
Okay. So, speaking of shipping and things like that, right? What do you guys? Am I the only one that has never shipped like two people together as much as Guts and Casca?
Guts and Casca. Okay, we're talking about
also doing the right thing or the wrong thing. Did he do anything wrong? That's also...
Oh yeah, did he? I might. Okay, in my next video, I kind of want to make a Haida did nothing wrong. Is there's like a slew of people that think he's just like the fucking worst person in the universe like ever for doing this. Like, I think a lot of it's because they had a guy, or it was like some girls that had a guy choose a girl over them when they thought they were a better option. I guess they're kind of relating to that, and that's why they're so pissed at him. But
right.
I would argue he didn't really do anything wrong, because nothing he did had any malicious intent. Like he wasn't trying to hurt anyone or do anything like that. Like it was kind of in a moral gray. Like towards the end, it was more of a moral gray area, but I don't think it was anything malicious on his end. But with Griffith, that's a different story.
Yeah, did Griffith do
way different story, because Griffith sure as hell knew that he was hurting a shit ton of people for his own benefit.
I'm the only person that did not like Griffith.
Griffith?
You what?
Am I the only person that did not like Griffith?
I liked him up until the last couple episodes.
This is another, because towards the last couple episodes where, yeah, of course what Griffith did was way worse than Haida, but how they're comparable is look at the shit that Griffith went through before the eclipse.
Right.
Like, could you imagine that happening to you?
Yeah, no.
And how much that would change you or just fuck you up in the head? Like, that is the most unbelievably terrible thing that can happen. I mean, you all know all the horrible things have cut off his tendons, cut off his dick. Like,
literally anything that can be done to happened.
Yeah. And that happened to Griffith. And that kind of is why they say Griffith did nothing wrong, because of all the things that happened with Griffith and all the things that would have made him decide that. And you can apply that same logic to Haida, but not nearly as serious though.
Right.
Or as fucked up, but.
Yeah. And I mean, in a way, like, I think Griffith, like whether you like him or not, is one of the best like structured characters out of like
He
any
is, yeah.
anime manga, because you know his whole thing through the entirety of the series is being like true to his goal, his end goal, and like what he desires and what he wants, you know, from episode 1 up until when he makes the decision at the end. And it's like, in a way, yeah, he did put his goal and his dreams above everybody else, but if you think about it, it's kind of always been like that since the Band of the Hawk began. I mean, he just, nobody really thought that it would go that far, you know?
I feel like Griffith is just so manipulative, and he has such a superiority complex, and he's so controlling that it feeds off onto other people. Like, for example, I feel like that's one reason why Guts left, because he felt like he needed to free himself of the chains of.
Right.
Yeah. And he overheard what Griffith was saying too, and that kind of influenced him to leave.
Right. And Guts didn't want to like only live for Griffith's dream. He wanted to, you know, have his own desire, his own reasons, because you know he could never be equal to Griffith if he was always working like, you know, for his desires and didn't really have a drive of his own.
Oh, definitely.
Which I thought like their friendship was like super cool and complex, you know, while like all this stuff happened to Griffith and when he got tortured and then that ultimately led to his decision. At the same time, could you imagine being Guts and like your friend gets captured and you go to rescue him, go through all this trouble, and you finally get to him and he's just like a shell of himself, you know?
That really changed a lot, just changed him afterwards. And it's like those kind of events and things like that, I try to find, like, put myself in their shoes and think, how would I react? Like, what would I do if that happened to me? And like, same thing with the rest of season 3. Like, what would I do if I was Haida? Like, what would I do? And would I do anything any better or any worse? Like, like what would I do?
Right. I mean, it's cool to like. I mean, I don't know if you guys have you watched the other seasons of Berserk, Eric? Because I know Noel hasn't.
I've read some of the manga.
You have read the manga.
Back on it though, yeah.
So it's cool to see how like Guts and like all the people go from like the Band of the Hawk members go from like idolizing Griffith to like once he finally makes this change, you know, now he's like, I mean, he absolutely despises them, you know, like how could he do this to these people? And it's cool to see how like drastically like the mentalities change of all these characters.
Right, definitely.
Which is really cool.
Like, for example, the last episode, right? What Griffith did to Guts psychologically in watching Griffith and Casca, that I felt for him, man. Like, he literally, like, watching him cut off his own, like, oh my gosh.
There's nothing he could do, yeah.
It's like, what do you guys think was going through Griffith's head during that time?
Through Griffiths, like I kind of under the impression that like once he made the choice to become one of the God Hands, that I don't think he kind of lost all of his humanity. I mean, maybe way down and deep inside of him, he still has like some recollection of his old self. But I think like once he made that decision and transformed, that he really became, you know, a demon and kind of, you know, doesn't care about his past at all.
Yeah.
That's what I take from it anyway.
And you mentioned that you asked Eric if he finished Berserk. I gotta ask you, how the hell did you watch that CGI?
I just was so like, I haven't read all the manga, but I've read parts of it, and like I was just so into the story because I didn't watch like the 1997 original Berserk until like probably 2017, so the other seasons were already out, and I was like in it so deep. I sucked it up and I just watched the shitty CGI versions as well. Just wanted as much as I could get, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
And damn, I had a question. Damn. You guys have any other questions? My mind just went blank. I had a brain.
Oh, that's fine.
No, well, what did you think about when Pippin died and the like when they were inside like the demon world or whatever, and like, you know, because throughout the series, you know, he was kind of like, you know, Gretzko and I always get his name wrong. Is it Hide?
Haida.
Haida, that's right.
Yeah, Haida.
He like, you know, he always wants Gretzko, and like she never sees him that way. It's the same way with like Casca and Pippin, you know.
It kind of was, yeah.
Yeah, and then like it ultimately comes down and like the reverse where like Haida saves Gretzko, you know. Pippin is like he saves Casca, but like, you know, he loses his life in it. But it's cool to see how like this they kind of had like a love triangle where like Casca always loved Griffith, and like Guts kind of, you know, ends up the choice in the end, I guess. But then Pippin's on the other side where he always loves Casca and never gets her. So it's kind of like a cool love circle almost.
I'm trying to remember.
It's crazy how comparable these shows are. How you can compare like Berserk to the third season of Gretzko.
Right.
It's all this like moral thinking, and then like not putting yourself in their shoes, and then like trying to come up with like what was really the right and wrong choice, and then but at the same time being like, yeah, that was fucked up, but also even if they did something wrong, it's like, well, maybe it was kind of justified, or it's like in that moment it made sense for them to do it, like maybe so or maybe not.
Which one was Pippin?
Pippin, he was like the one that like had like the little throwing knives. He was the blonde.
Yeah, the blonde dude.
I love this character.
Yeah, great character.
Yeah, he was a really good. There was some really good side characters in Berserk. You know.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
What is the other one that like Corcus or whatever?
Am I the only one that thought the big dude was like dope? Like, he
was it Judon, right?
Yeah.
He didn't speak at all. He was just like always there. Like I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, he was badass.
He lifted up Guts, and like when he first joined the Band of the Hawks, yeah. So I don't know. I felt like he was always in like the shadows, but he was. You knew he was there. Like there wasn't a moment I didn't realize that he was there.
Right.
But what do you guys? Because I didn't know exactly what the symbol meant. Like the
curse symbol.
Yeah, the curse symbol. Like, what does it signify?
Like the thing that's on like Guts' neck.
Yeah.
So that's like, yeah. Like when they go into like the demon world, you know, they all get that mark because they're all branded as a sacrifice for the god hand. So technically anyone that survives, like if they make it out of that demon world, they're just constantly hunted by like other god hands and just any kind of demon in the world.
That's very cool. My friend actually has a brand of sacrifice tattooed on his neck, like same spot.
I was thinking about getting one of those tattoos.
Yeah, honestly.
There's actually a band called Brand of Sacrifice, and it's an entire metal band that's just based off of Berserk, and all their lyrics are about Berserk. Yeah, I've seen them live before. They're fucking really cool dudes. Yeah, that's a good band to check out. Do you like? It depends. Do you like deathcore? I think they're one of the best deathcore bands there are.
I like metal, but I've never really gotten into like the deathcore death metal.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I go that heavy usually, but like
it's pretty heavy stuff. But it's a lot better than most deathcore bands because I'm really picky about my deathcore, and like I like maybe like 20% of deathcore. The rest of it I don't really like. It has to stand out to me because I feel like there's just too many generic breakdowns in it, and I just got annoyed of it after a while. But like. There's a lot of bands. They're like Distance really good. They do some weeb metal too. My friend actually did merch for it over on Instagram. They actually do like all AMVs for their music videos too, but they need to like put something different in it so it doesn't just sound like the rest.
Right.
And that's why I'm like really picky when it comes to deathcore.
Right.
Am I the only one that caught myself singing the OP almost every single episode? It was like. It felt old school and old fashioned, but like I really felt like it was a bump. Like
yeah. There's not one thing I don't like about that series.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's phenomenal.
I didn't like the dude that hated Guts. Like,
is it Corcus? I think.
Yeah, I think that was his name. Like he hated the second episode.
Yeah, he was kind of a Chad. Oh, speaking about my favorite Chad from Gretzko was the kangaroo.
Oh, the kangaroo.
protein. Yeah.
I wanted to ship him and Gory together. I think they would be a good a good combination. But what's cool about Gretzko is all their names are based off the animals they're based off of, like Fenico, Fennec Fox, Retzko, Retz Panda for Red Panda, and Haida for Hyena.
Right.
Like all their names are based off of the actual animals that they are.
But there was no wolf. Was there a wolf?
There hasn't been a wolf yet. I want there to be a fucking metal wolf in Gretzko. Maybe next season we'll get one.
Yeah.
And I want him to be the bad guy. Like I want him to be like some asshole rocker Chad or something. I don't know. I think that would be awesome.
Speaking about characters in Gretzko, I loved the directors, like the two directors that was.
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, and like what was she? Like the stone? What was she?
Which one?
The big one. Oh, I forgot her name.
The two. You mean Washimi and Gory, the bird and the gorilla? Gory. Yeah, I know. Gory's awesome.
You go on a gorilla, right?
Yeah, the gorilla.
That's a gorilla.
I think she's a gorilla. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why she's so big.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's one of the best friends. Even though in this season, she kind of influenced a little bit of bad behavior. Like she got Haida to kind of stalk Gretzko, and then continued with it, promoted that, and then she did encourage Haida to try and get with Gretzko and help out with that too.
Mm-hmm.
And she was definitely, like I was saying, if you hate Haida, you should hate her too, because she was very, very responsible for it, and so was Tadano. Like none of them said, "Hey, you should think this more. Here's a more logical way of doing this." They were all like, "Let's go ahead. Let's do this. You're getting with Gretzko."
Yeah, you're getting with her. Yeah.
They were totally on board with it, and I actually have more. I wouldn't say like, I actually kind of would give them a little more shit than I'd give Haida, because they encouraged it.
The peer pressure,
yeah. They peer pressure. They encouraged it, and they were totally fine with it, and they helped set it up. So
that is true,
right?
But
if you're gonna hate on Haida, you should hate them as well. But I don't think you should hate any of them, because I think at their heart they're good. They just fuck situation. Things happen. You think this is the best. Maybe it's not. Maybe you're wrong. I can't really hate any of them for their decisions.
Right.
Okay. I feel like you just can't hate them because the choice that they've done this season, because overall they've done a lot better for Gretzko than they did bad. Like they helped Gretzko with Tadano, because she was obviously head over heels for him, and he wasn't offering her the things that she wanted in her future.
Oh,
yeah. Who else was it? Did they help him with Anai? I'm pretty.
Helping out with Anai. I think Haida helped out more with Anai than any of them, and that's because he told him off and defended her at work. Like I would say, he helped out a little more than Gory and Washimi did in that situation. Usually it's Washimi and Gory, but in that situation, I'd say it was more of Haida and her own will. Yeah. Okay. And I was gonna say about it. Yeah, towards the ending, like I think a lot of people who hate them, I think it's something they're trying to reflect something from their lives, or it's a lot of projection.
Right.
Because a lot of people
they
hate Haida because he didn't get with Inu, and I think they're pissed off because they wish they could get with a girl like that, and they wish they were in that situation, or they hate him for choosing to make that decision for Gretzko and go for Gretzko and choose about doing it in that manner. Because they think they're like, oh, well, she had trauma and you did this like when she had trauma, and this is a terrible way to go about it. And yeah, it wasn't the best way to go about it, even though it seemed like it had a positive outlook. But like, you have to look like other people encouraged it too, and it wasn't just him. It wasn't entirely just him. Like there was actual reasons and actions that made these things happen, instead of just him being stupid or like a stupid plot hole or something. Like there was actual like deep meaning and reasoning behind the actions that happened.
Right. What do you think about the boss?
I love it.
You hate him or love him?
He's the only person that you could either hate or love, because he is kind of a dick.
First season I hated him, but like as the series goes on, I think he kind of like warmed up to me.
I loved it from the beginning, man. From him playing golf in the office, and just him always giving Gretzko shit, man. It was like, I feel like he's why Gretzko turns to rage.
She takes a lot of shit and doesn't really do anything about it or anything in return. Like I think that's actually something that him and Haida and her have common ground with is they both take a bunch of shit and just do nothing about it, and they're not like fully confident in being able to handle their business. Like both of them are really bad at it. Like Retsuko takes shit from her coworkers all the time, puts on a fake face, like, yeah, that's fine, I'll do that. And Haida kind of does the same thing too. Likewise, not just with her, but with like a lot of other people.
Right.
Like he's not completely confident or assertive with himself either. Only he's more emotional and expressive about it than Retsuko is. Like it's easier to bag on him about it than Retsuko, because Retsuko just hides behind a fake mask and you wouldn't really know if she was around.
Right.
It's like, I don't know. Speaking about the boss, like, it wasn't even just the boss that I loved. It was his family too. Like,
oh, his family, yeah.
They were all so similar, and I feel like they were one of like the comedic aspects of the Gretzko. Like they brought a lot of comedy to it. I laughed a lot more than I did with Haida and Fenico, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like what would you guys give a Gretzko, especially you, Connor, since you just finished the show?
I think, despite like each season, like if I would do it to like all together, I guess
do you think
I'd give it probably like a 7.58. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Better to grade differently, or do you think it's better to just grade them all overall, all the seasons?
Do what?
You think it's better to grade all the seasons together, or you think it's better to grade each
I
one?
mean, I usually, like, when I grade stuff, I usually go from the entirety of the series, but I know some people split it up by season. Like on my anime list, there's like, it's usually separate by season, but I prefer to just do like the entirety of the show.
Okay. So you said 7.58?
Yeah, I'd probably just go 7.5, lock it right in at 7.5 for me.
What about you?
My opinion is I personally can't, with this particular anime, I can't really rate them all together. I kind of was comparing it to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where each part is just so much different.
That's true.
I can't give it one solid score, because, and this is how I would do it by each season. But the first season, I give like a 7.5. The second season, I would give it like an 8.7. I really like the second season. And the third season, I would give it probably around the same score, like a 9. I give it like, I give it like a 9. I really like the third season because for me, it bumped it up there, and it started making me just question so much about actions, morality, and everything else in the world, of why people do certain things and do this, and is it really bad? And there's been so much good debate and discussion about it, and like none of the other seasons have been able to create that as well as the third. And depending on, the only thing that's like making me hold back a little bit on my score is the cliffhanger, because if season 4 ties it in better and ties up the ending better, like they do a great job of explaining the ending in season 4, that could heavily influence my score. But since the ending is just they could either fuck it up in the next season or make it good. That's the only thing that's holding me back. But as for the rest of the episodes, the humor, everything else happening, the character development, that's where I'd hold it like a 9 in that category for the third season.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Noel?
I think I would give it overall an 8, because like you said, you give the first season a 7.5.
Yeah.
But I would give the third season a 8.5 and the second 8. So I average it about an 8 basically.
Yeah, if you average all of them in the middle.
Yeah. So but speaking on I feel like we spoke a lot about Gretzko in this.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. I have spoken so much about it, especially on my Discord server. But yeah, we're talking about, like, there's a lot to talk about. There's no show really quite like it. Like compared to like other furry shows, this one's very unique in and of itself.
Yeah.
Compared to other shows, definitely.
I feel like out of all three of the anime, I would rate Vinland Saga at number 1 for me, Berserk, and then Gretzko. But we haven't even been able to touch Vinland.
We haven't touched Vinland Saga,
which I feel like
we got another boss to talk about in Vinland
that
Saga.
one. I honestly, I will give it a 9.5 out of 10. Like, I love Vinland Saga. It was
I think I gave it a 9.
a 9
on my Mao list.
I would personally give it an 8. I really liked it, but I saw it. Like the whole show made me, especially not just the first opening intro, it made me kind of feel like I was at like an Amon Amarth show. If you ever heard of that band, like that Viking metal band?
I haven't heard of that.
Like their aesthetic, what they have on stage, it's literally just like Vinland Saga. Like it literally full time. Like I've been to their shows before. They have like Viking ships on stage and everything's like set up. Like all this Viking aesthetic in their music and about what it's about. Like it reminded me so much of Vinland Saga. Like anytime I was watching a show, I'm like, it feels like I'm at a Amon Amarth show.
Right.
I feel like out of all three, Finland is definitely the most aesthetically pleasing. Like,
yeah, Vinland Saga was a really cool animation style.
And I feel like you guys watching Amazon Prime videos?
Yeah, Amazon Prime.
Was it just me, or did Vinland have the same what do you call it, animation intro as Dororo, but they're two different
it was similar, yeah. It was animation team.
Yeah. I think it was pretty similar, yeah. I don't know who did Vinland Saga. I can't think about it off the top of my head.
I think something like that.
They have the the 3 people on the motorcycles, right? They're just like driving down the road, That's all I remember from the.
What was your guys' favorite fight?
Oh, I think my battery just died.
Yeah, it just died. You got a backup?
I do back it up real quick. Oh yeah, I was gonna say I'd say because I was gonna explain the 3 shows: Vinland Saga, Gretzko, and Berserk, where I would rank them. I would, out of all of them, I would rank Vinland Saga actually the 3rd, and Berserk I would rank it the next because the anime didn't go on so long and doesn't have as much content as the manga. But I've read the manga and I just know how good it is and how well they did with this arc. So I'd put Berserk number 2, and then I'd probably put a Gretzko number 3, just because there's just more stuff to take in from there with the anime. Now, if I was going to say the Berserk manga, that would go ahead that, but just the anime alone, I would put that as the ranking score.
Okay. What was your favorite fight in the anime?
Vinland?
Yeah, in Vinland Saga. What was your guys'
We're
favorite?
back.
Welcome back. Yeah, what was your guys' favorite fight in the first season? Because they are coming on next. Yeah.
Oh, for me, Thorfinn versus Thorkel by far.
Yeah.
That was so badass. Even when he holds there, blocks the blade, and it just cuts his hand. Oh,
yeah, that was sick.
Sick. It doesn't make sense to me though. Like, how can Thorfinn? But I feel like Askeladd got help from Thorfinn got help from Askeladd to defeat Thorkel. I still feel like he was able to defeat Thorkel, which he was a John's Viking. What do they call it? The
Joe's the Viking or whatever. I don't really know how to say it.
And
did he technically beat him?
He knocked him out. I mean,
right, yeah, because then he fling him he blinded him, right, or something.
Yeah, he blinded him. He just hit him in the face, and he just fell over.
Right.
It's but he just can never beat Askeladd, and it's the ending was so climatic for me. It's I expected this amazing duel at the end, and then I feel like I never got that one duel I was looking for,
Right.
But I don't know. It's the ending. Honestly, the ending of what do you call it?
Season.
Yeah, the ending of the season. I would give it honestly. I didn't prefer the ending of the anime at all.
Really. See, I loved that. I thought the twist at the end, I didn't expect that at all. I don't want to spoil anything if nobody's watched it, but you know what? He when he sacrifices himself, I did not see that coming.
That was dope, but
that right there made the ending for me.
But it was just
the whole
displeasing.
The what?
It was so displeasing for me. It's
yeah, I'm not saying I wanted him to die, but I just think that for me, when an author or director is willing to kill off a character like that, I think that is a ballsy move, and I respect it. I mean, whether I want the character to die or not, I think that it's like to actually do that and like, disappoint all the fans that you're probably going to disappoint, killing off these players. I think that is very, very respectful and like challenging to do.
Yeah. I kind of like it when the creators do a little fuck you to the fans and be like, yeah, sometimes good doesn't always win, or sometimes the right thing or the righteous thing doesn't happen like that, like how Hunter x Hunter does it. Like,
exactly. That was
all three of these shows do a beautiful job of that. All three of these shows give a good fuck you to the fans.
Right.
And sometimes let the good guy or let someone not win or let someone die or just let something bad happen or someone.
That's true. Yeah, all
three of these shows do.
We kind of didn't even plan that; it just happened. Yeah.
Who would you guys?
They really do.
Who what?
Who was your favorite character
in Vinland Saga?
Yeah.
Who was my favorite character? I don't know. Who's yours, Eric?
In Vinland Saga, probably. Yeah. Okay, I hate that I forgot his. What was Thorfinn's dad's name?
That's who I was gonna say too. I can't remember.
Okay, he is the most fucking Chad character in that show. Like his dad is just a fucking. He is just the ultimate Chad. Like how calm and just how logical and smart he is. On top of just how OP he is as well. Like he is extremely OP. Like I was kind of surprised he died because dude, he is a freaking force to be reckoned with.
Right.
That death. Really,
like his dad is a fucking Chad. Like there's no doubt about it.
Right.
That death really like punched me in the gut because I was like, "Yo, he's fucking him up. He's fucking him up."
Yeah, no sword.
And he died so early on, and I was like, "Shit."
He died from the most pussiest shit I've ever seen.
That's one issue I had too. Is I was kind of like, he died from some arrows. I was like, dude, this guy is a one-man army. Like this guy could literally take on armies by himself, and he just died from some arrows, and he probably could have avoided it.
I think he could have. I think he did it on purpose. I think he sacrificed himself for
his death was something I did not really like. Not just because I liked him and thought he was a cool character, but he could have went out in a better way, or they could have kept him around a little longer.
Right.
Well, he was essential for the story.
I can't remember because I've watched it a while ago now, but didn't they surrender or something, but like Askeladd killed him anyway or something? I can't remember.
No, I feel like he didn't surrender. He knew what was going to happen because it was like he defeated Askeladd and he was like, all right, now he told him to let his son go because he practically sacrificed himself to save his son. And referring to that, remember when Askeladd was taunting Thorfinn, he was like he was acting like he forgot who Thor's was, and he was like, oh wait, yeah, I remember.
That's his dad's name, right?
He was like, now I remember. It was the guy that sacrificed himself for a kid. And I was like, damn, why you gotta do that to my boy Thorfinn?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, Thorfinn. I feel like I liked him more in the beginning of the series than I did at the end, because he was so like.
He becomes kind of annoying to me, in my opinion. Like he kind of loses his drive and just becomes like kind of a Chad, honestly, in my opinion.
I kind of was hoping he'd become more like his dad,
right,
and go down that path. But he's significantly different.
Yeah, because I feel like living with Askeladd, he kind of almost went down his path, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. I was about to say. I feel like he's more what Askeladd would be if he wasn't hiding, like wearing a mask.
Right.
And he's less like his father, because that's like if you go back to like the last episode, right? And Askeladd was like, "I'm the real king," you know. He was angry because his mother got killed, and his father was a Chad.
Right.
And it was like I feel like how Thorfinn basically acted how Askeladd wants to act in a way.
Right.
Vengeance. What's another word? Basically, he's angry. He's angry.
Right. Yeah. He's just full of frustration.
Yeah, and I feel like I cannot wait to see what's gonna happen next season, because just seeing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What would happen to Thor? Like, what's gonna happen to Thorfinn after he's and it's just like I don't know. Is he gonna go back home? Is he gonna?
Yeah, I haven't read any of the manga or anything, but I think this next season's supposed to be really, really good.
Okay.
I hope we get kind of like a big civil war between like the two brothers or the brothers claiming like the throne or whatever.
That would definitely be dope. That would be dope.
A Game of Thrones.
Do you guys have anything else to say about any of the anime that we?
I don't know. I think I kind of said what there was to be said. I mean, I'm doing a whole video on Gratsuko and the ending and stuff. So
right. So we'll be able to watch more there.
Yeah, and Vinland Saga Berserk. I think I have a pretty good understanding of it and said what I had to say about them. So no, I think I'm good. Yeah.
All right, guys.
So what do we want to do for next episode?
Next episode,
we have K Genma coming on, right?
Oh yeah, so he's gonna do a guest appearance for International Weeb.
I forgot.
So what do we want to discuss next week?
Clannad, the full
after story.
You gotta finish it, man. You gotta finish.
You
do. What else? What else have we not watched? Have you guys ever heard of No Guns Life?
I've seen it around. I haven't watched it yet, but I've seen some people do content on it, and it looks pretty badass.
Okay.
It's like
have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen the first season. I have to finish the second one. I started it, but I never finished it. It's about this guy. He's basically he works for. Oh, it's hard to explain, honestly. So basically, it's a guy that has a gun for a head, right? And he does missions to protect. They're not protect, but it's kind of like a police officer. Not really a police officer, but he stops people that's similar to him that has like a weapon for a body part. And and you're supposed to, keep it like under control and not do illegal activities with it. So he's the person that takes care of those. They hire him. So he's more like a mercenary than a
a weapon for hire.
Yeah.
Gun for hire.
But
what is that on?
It's on Amazon. It's on Prime. It's on Prime.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Why not?
Okay.
Probably, honestly, I think those two might be good because Clannad, I still have to watch the second half of the first season and all of After Story.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. What about you, Eric?
I think those two shows are good because I haven't watched either of them yet, and usually you're the one that does the most of the watching.
Right. Yeah. We'll flip the roles.
We have.
I got to finish all that.
Yeah, we finished the Big Furry 3 this year.
Yep.
And now we're heading on to other animes to discuss. So.
Right. Do we want to do season 1 and 2 of No Guns, No Life, or just 1?
I feel like just 1 for now. I
don't think I still have to finish Clannad.
Yeah, Clannad's long.
Yeah.
And K Gemma's watched Clannad too. He said he's a big Clannad fan, so that'll be good.
Okay.
Got you guys. Don't worry.
Right.
All right. So this is where we're gonna end off the 5th episode of the podcast, y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed this amazing content with my 2 fellow creators, and I hope to catch you guys next week. Peace out.
Boom.